everybody. I'm Henry Hale, Director of our Institute for European, Russian, Eurasian Studies here at the Elliott School at George Washington University. Thank you all for joining us, and I'm very happy to introduce our visiting scholar here on a Fulbright Fellowship, Dr. Ivan Hristov, who is an Associate Professor at the Institute of Literature of the Bulgarian Academy of Sciences. He's the author of a number of books, including The Sagittarius Circle and the Idea of the Native, and also Bulgarian Literary Modernism, The Problem of Time and Identity, as well as over 30 articles in the field of Bulgarian literary modernism. So today he's here to talk about his Fulbright project, which is on Reuben Markham's concept of totalitarianism. Reuben Markham, I think, is a really interesting thinker and figure. I won't say any more about that because I'll leave that to our colleague, Dr. Hristov. So we'll just ask him to talk for about maybe the first half of the session. We have about an hour, and then we'll have time for questions, discussion, comments. So turn things over to you. The floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Henry. So here are the main sponsors of the project, and I would like to say thank you for your hospitality. Henry, as a director of the Institute for European, Russian and Eurasian Studies, and also thank you to the Fulbright Bulgaria program. So I'm going to continue how this project started. My dissertation is about the Sagittarius Circle. They are Bulgarian modernists, and the circle existed from 1925 until 1927, and their main tribune was the newspaper East. And the newspaper, in fact, was founded by Reuben Markham. And Reuben was the sponsor of this newspaper. And I discovered that one of the Sagittarius Circle members, Kirill Hristov, mentioned Reuben in his memoir. And I decided to check the name, to follow the trace, and this is how I discovered Reuben Markham. I discovered his famous book, Meet Bulgaria. His very good book, Meet Bulgaria, which is not famous but started to be famous in Bulgaria. And I presented on a paper on Meet Bulgaria at the Conference of Bulgarian Studies Association 2012 at the University of Oregon. And here the grandson, I'm honored also and would like to say thank you to Stuart Van Dyke, who is here, the grandson of Reuben Markham. He contacted me. He saw that I presented a paper about his grandfather, and he said that the archive of his grandfather is in his house here in Washington, D.C., and if I want, I can work with his archive, and we met last year in Sofia, and the picture with Stuart is when we met in Sofia last year for the first time. So I went to Stuart's house to work to see the Reuben's archive, and I decided to organize a historical documentary exhibition. And we, together with Stuart, we were able to scan more than 150 pictures, and the plan is to organize an exhibition in Sofia, Bulgaria. And here you can see pictures from 19th century. here are Reuben's grandfather and grandmother, and also his mother and father and his sister. Here also pictures of the family, and on the right here are the parents of Reuben's wife Mary. So here we have pictures from the yearbook of the college which Reuben and Mary finished. And here we have information in local newspaper which says that Reuben and Mary are going to, at the beginning they thought that they are going as missionaries, Protestant missionaries of the congregational church to Turkey, we see at the beginning, but then they went to Bulgaria. And here also a fragment from the yearbook which says that Mary's father was merchant. And here is the American college in Samokov. Samokov is a town maybe an hour by car away from Sofia, the American college, and Reuben and Mary went there to become teachers. And that is how their Bulgarian journey started. So here we can see that Reuben was a contemporary of the world's biggest dictators, and he was born about the same time as them, and it was difficult for him to escape them, as you can guess. So after the First World War, Reuben decided to stop to teach, and he became mainly a journalist. He found a few periodicals in Bulgaria, and one of them is Polet or Flight. In 1924, he published the article Class Struggle, called Class Struggle, in which he says class struggle can be compared to the disease cancer. It brings down some despots but raises others. It is like the struggle that the human body would wage with the brain. And instead of class struggle, he offers to class struggle to be replaced by class creativity, and responsibility for these replacements is a main task of the upper class. He says that the bourgeoisie has to make compromises to avoid radicalization of the society. And in fact, even the First World War was finished, violence in Europe continued, and here in 1923 we can see that by coup, Bulgarian professor established Alexander Tsenkov established an authoritarian regime in Bulgaria. About the same time, the Communist Party and the Bolsheviks in Bulgaria decided to try another revolution, which was similar to the Bolshevik Revolution in Russia, but due to severe oppression by the government of Alexander Tsenkov, the revolution was unsuccessful, and it was violently stopped. And here you can see in 1925 the Communist Party wanted a revenge, and they organized bombing of the St. Nedelya Church. This act is something like the Bulgarian Katyn, because they killed a very important general. He was a member of the Alexander Tsenkov's party, and they planned when the funeral of the general is going to be held in the church, they put explosives there, and they killed a very big part from the Bulgarian elite, political and military elite. As you can see, 200 people were killed and 500 injured. The bombing is by far the deadliest terrorist attack in Europe until the 1985. So Reuben was he witnessed all of these events, and he writes articles about them, and his position. He tried to. I think during this period he tries to preserve the democratic system. It was very difficult for him because the society was very much radicalized. So in 1931 he published the book Meet Bulgaria, which is like a mirror of Bulgaria during this period, and became quite famous, even though it was forgotten. I think after the 1944, when the communist regime was established in Bulgaria, and now last year it was translated and published in Bulgaria for the first time, and here you can see the Bulgarian edition. And here in Meet Bulgaria, you can see his understanding about the Bolsheviks. Here you can see that there were not as many communists as agrarians, but they were far better organized and far more enlightened and aggressive. And here he also says the people by hundreds of thousands actually believed that the red sun was to rise over a Red Sea, that the heads of the rich people were to roll in the streets, and that a new era of justice and general prosperity was to be ushered triumphantly in. So during the 1930s, Reuben became a correspondent for the Christian Science, the American newspaper Christian Science Monitor, a correspondent for Eastern Europe, and also as we can see here from this document, he was a president of the Anglo-American Press Association of Vienna, but he continued to travel to Bulgaria. And here in the archive we have a picture of his best friend in Bulgaria, Neofit Tsakov. He was a Protestant missionary in Samokov and in Sofia, and in 1949, and here you can see an article dedicated to Reuben, written by Neofit. The The title is A Loyal Friend of Bulgaria. And in 1949, Neofit Sakov was arrested by the communists and sent to a concentration camp, the most notorious concentration camp in Bulgaria, Belene. After 3 years in the camp, he was sent to a regular prison, and he spent 15 years in prison. He was accused in espionage for the US. In 1941, Reuben published here in the United States maybe his most famous book, which is called The Wave of the Past. And the book is written in argue with the book of Anne Morrow Lindbergh, The Wave of the Future. Lindbergh's book is kind of glorification of Adolf Hitler, because during as many scholars says today, that our time is similar to the 1930s in Europe. Isolationism and nationalism were very strong in the United States. Anne Morrow Lindbergh is the wife of Charles Lindbergh, who is the leader of the America First movement. And here we can see that he was awarded a medal on behalf on Adolf Hitler in October 1931. So the isolationists thought that if they are an ally of Nazi Germany, it's gonna be better for the future of the United States. And here in the book you can see a few positions which Reuben, for which Reuben talks. For example, in a historical concept, the main opposition for him, of course, is democracy and totalitarianism, or autocracy. For him, autocracy and totalitarianism are synonyms. And you can see Abraham Lincoln versus Adolf Hitler. In terms of architecture, Rockefeller Center and the pyramids in Egypt, built by an autocratic society, the French Revolution versus the Bastille, equal races versus master people, equal classes versus exploitation, aspiration for free collaboration versus hatred. During the Second World War, he started to work for the government, for the Office of Information, and was sent to the Middle East, also to gather information there. After Second World War, the U.S. and the Soviet, the U.S. asked the Soviet Union to allow U.S. correspondents, journalists, to enter the Soviet bloc and to be able to cover the development of the Soviet, the development of the communist society there, the health of elections, and Reuben decided to go to Bulgaria, Romania, and to Hungary again as a correspondent for Christian Science Monitor. On February 1st, the so-called People's Court happened in Bulgaria, held by the communist regime there, and as you can see, the model they followed was the Nuremberg process, but they use it as an instrument of political violence and against to oppress the Bulgarian society. You can see they issued more than 2,000 death sentences and more than 20,000 people were killed without a trial. And here you can see a telegram sent by Reuben from Bulgaria, which is also the telegram is found in the archive, and here I'm not gonna cite the whole telegram, but here you can see I can't close heart or ears or door at such sad people, so listen with exhausting sympathy. And here something important, he says, never outside Nazism have I seen such cruelty. Living thus amid soft brutality, closed minds, hearts find great need, divine faith to retain love, kindness. And he published a few articles covering the Bulgarian situation, the Bulgarian elections, and he shows that the elections are absolutely fraud and directed. And here another article published in Christian Science Monitor. He made a comparison between Romanian elections and Bulgarian elections also. So, because of his publications, the Soviet authorities decided to expel him from the Soviet bloc. And here we have documents here which shows the process of his expulsion from Romania, and he was forced to leave the Eastern Bloc. And articles like his and articles written by other journalists, in fact, were the reason for the Cold War to start. So here we can see Reuben is back to the US, and he continued to publish difficult articles to show the communist methods in the Soviet zone. And in 1946 he decided to inform the President Truman about the situation in Eastern Europe, and here you can see I'm writing this not to tell you that Russia has established and maintains dictatorial, despotic regimes in practically the whole of Eastern Europe, and that the great majority of the people there hope for liberation through the united efforts of the rest of the world, led led by America. And as you can see, the president answered his letter, and they had a meeting a few days later. In 1947, Reuben was awarded. He was nominated for the Pulitzer Prize. He didn't win, but he was nominated for his journalism, and he continued to write. And here we can see his book dedicated to Yugoslavia's communist regime led by Tito, and also another book, Romania under the Soviet yoke, dedicated to Romania. Unexpectedly, suddenly he died by heart attack in 1949, and in fact he died here in Washington DC in the George Washington University Hospital. He died here. And here you can see an article published right after his death in Christian Science Monitor called Friend of Humanity. Also the Washington Post published a note about his death, and also the New York Times. And here you can see a few articles that was published after his death, and that are part of his legacy. Here a statement by the editor-in-chief of the journal The New Leader, William Chamberlain, and he says, if there were a Pulitzer Award or some other citation for upholding the ideals of a free society and a free press with unflinching courage and honesty and devotion in an age of totalitarian violence and propaganda and fraud, there could be no worthier recipient than this simple, unassuming Kansas Democrat, Reuben Markham. And here, in conclusion, I take a fragment from the Wave of the Past, why to show why the figure of Reuben Markham is important today for the Bulgarian society, for the European and also the US society. I think because at the end of his famous book, The Wave of the Past, he says, what are our schools, our churches, our homes? What are our courts, our town meetings, our legislature? What are our radios, our papers, and our movies, if slave drivers rule the road? Every river in our land would be as the bitter waters of Babylon. Our very homes would be places of exile. We would be as spiritual chain gangs, manacled by a power we would not muster will to resist, moving in a darkness created by our own desire not to see. To prevent that will be our first step. Whatever it may cost, we shall take it. Thank you very much.
Thank you. All right, so maybe I'll move up here, and it's okay, maybe I'll ask a couple questions, and then we can open it up for discussion. So I guess one question I had was, what is your interpretation about kind of the main lines of his thinking about totalitarianism? That he saw as he characterized it. What did he see as kind of its roots, or the causes of its rise?
Yeah, yes. The roots he sees are many causes, but I think especially for him it is very important. Of course, we know that revanchism after the First World War, also the development of technology and the new medias like the radio and also press and late cinema, of course, and later the television. They helped a lot to for the so-called individualism to disappear in the European culture, and that helped for the collective movements like fascism, Nazism, communism to rise. Also the problems, as you can see, democracy had the problems during the democracy, especially in Eastern Europe, had problems to represent the people, the democratic crisis also. And what else? Of course, the rise of the radical right and the radical left, and I think especially for he is very important Christianity. At some point he says that in fact democracy is Christianity, and maybe Christianity in its Protestant version. And as you know, as we know, Nazism and also communism are atheistic regimes. So he one of the main reasons for the totalitarianism to rise, I think, is the loss of faith in God.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, interesting. And I guess maybe I'll just ask one more question, then we can open it up, and that is, you alluded to this towards the end. What do you think he would think today about what has been going on in the countries that he cared about? So Bulgaria, other countries of Eastern Europe, maybe the United States. I don't know how far you want to extend that, but I'd be interested in your reflections, being very familiar with his life and work.
Yeah. As I mentioned, our time now is very similar to the 1920s and 1930s, and now we can also see the rise of radical right, and also the rise of radical left, and I think that because he devoted his life to defend democracy, and I think he's gonna be maybe he's gonna be against the MAGA movement, maybe because during his life he always tried to criticize the strong nationalism and also the superiority of one class over another, and yeah, definitely I think that his writings are very important today, and we have to reread them again, yes.
All right, yeah, thank you so much. I mean, I have some other questions, but let me open it up to the floor here. Anyone? Yeah.
I would
Peter,
like
maybe
to,
just introduce
yeah,
yourself.
I'm Peter Wolberg, I teach here at GW. I would like to know, did he use the term totalitarianism actually in his writings? Did he, and if so, were there any theoretical assumptions on his part from other thinkers, how he actually discussed totalitarianism? And the second question is, the famous American German philosopher Hannah Arendt, she really is kind of the quintessential thinker of totalitarianism. Did she ever quote him? Did she ever refer to Markham in her writings on totalitarianism? Does he appear there?
He used the term totalitarianism. Yes, I think the term started to be popular during that period.
Mm-hmm.
At the beginning, even fascists, they use it in a positive in a positive term, totalitarianism, to show that the state, the totalitarian state, penetrated in all social spheres
Right.
of the society, and he used it, but his point of view on totalitarianism is not so theoretical. It's more it is more polemical, and like in a good journalistic way he writes, and I think maybe during that period also the concept of totalitarianism wasn't so clear, so they didn't know exactly. After Hannah Arendt, I think many things became clearer. But during that period, they didn't know. And for example, for him, I mentioned that totalitarianism and authoritarianism are the same, are similar, things, and also in the first he thinks, which is something different from Hannah Arendt. He thinks that in fact the totalitarian society is not something new, because Hannah Arendt says that a totalitarian society is a product of the 20th century. For Reuben, totalitarianism is something we can find in Egypt or in ancient Persia, ancient Persia, and also it's something old, but he says it is something old, but much more radicalized in the 20th century. Yes, and I don't think he mentioned. I think that his writings are very close to Churchill's writings, and I asked his grandson, is he read Churchill and was influenced by him, and Stuart said that he was an admirer of Churchill. But Hannah Arendt, I haven't mentioned quotation by her in his writings, so I think so. Maybe he haven't read his writings. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Great. Other comments, questions? Yeah, please.
It's a bit off topic, my question is not specifically about the person in question, but currently Eastern Europe is the most vulnerable to Russian information warfare, and it would be, your idea would be interested, where do Bulgarian people stand in this sense, and I don't know, in your opinion, how much Russian propaganda do Bulgarians consume nowadays?
Sorry, maybe if you could just introduce yourself.
Oh, sorry.
Sorry.
Yeah, my name is Timur, I'm a student here, a graduate student at GW.
Yes, so yeah, my opinion is Russia propaganda in Bulgaria is very strong and very influential. Yeah, and in Bulgaria also we can see rise of the radical right in our society, radical right, and for example, in Bulgaria, for example, it is still difficult to teach communism and the communist period because the Bulgarian educational system wasn't able to change itself, and Russian influence is still very strong, I can say, and now I think it is even becoming stronger.
Maybe if I could follow up with kind of a related question, which is kind of from what you were saying, it sounds like that there may be a revival or a rekindling of interest in his work, right? If his book, if I understood correctly, was published in Bulgarian only last year, the Meet Bulgaria, and so I guess I wonder, is that reflective of anything significant, right? Is it just kind of maybe randomly some people decided to publish it? Or is it a response to something going on in Bulgaria itself? Like you mentioned, the rise of radical parties. So I wonder maybe if you could talk a little bit about that. Like why was this book published then in Bulgarian, now, very recently? And does this reflect anything going on in Bulgaria itself? Is this reflective of something bigger?
Yeah, I think after almost 35 years of democracy in Bulgaria, we started to develop our democracy, and as a result we started to reconsider our past, to rethink our past, and at the beginning I thought that Markham's figure was completely unknown in contemporary Bulgaria, but when we had a conversation with Stuart, and he pointed an article published in 2001 by a very good Bulgarian scholar, Alexander Velichkov, and the articles was about the life and legacy of Reuben Markham. So a few Bulgarians tried to rehabilitate his legacy, because during communist regime he was forgotten. Yeah, at the beginning forbidden and then forgotten. But as I mentioned, there is the other tendency that in Bulgaria there is a very strong nostalgia for the Soviet past. As you know, Bulgaria was the most loyal satellite of the Soviet Union, and similar processes are happening now in Bulgaria. People are don't believe in democracy, they started to be very nostalgic about for the communist past, and I think that soil is a very good soil for the Russian propaganda now to penetrate the Bulgarian society and to influence the Bulgarian political system.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So do you have any idea how well his book is sold or in Bulgaria since it's been published?
I don't have numbers, but it was had a book launch in Sofia, and it was well received.
Yeah, very interesting.
Yes.
Other questions? Yes, please. Just
Well,
introduce yourself. You've been introduced a bit.
yeah,
but yeah, please. Yeah, thanks.
Ivan keeps calling me Stuart Van Dyke, but I'm known as, my name is Ted Van Dyke. So Stuart is my real name, but and I want to thank Ivan for a really good talk and bringing the memory of Reuben Markham kind of back into contemporary the contemporary time. But just to add to some of the things, one of the things about Reuben is he, and you're asking about the origins of totalitarianism and stuff, but Reuben took it very personally. It was almost like, he just didn't like a guy like Hitler making decisions. He was such a bully, such a tyrant, and such a evil person that he just, as long as he was around, he was not going to let Hitler do that. And the quote that he had at the end, that whatever it costs, we will take the step that's needed. And of course, it did cost 70 million lives or something to defeat Hitler, but he was willing to do that. He thought it was that important, and he did use, he as I would say, he's kind of had a practical view of totalitarianism more than a theoretical view, and he wrote in The Wave of the Past that Hitler didn't have one single thought that future generations wouldn't be ashamed of, and that Stalin didn't even have any original thoughts. But he was very, in the sense of totalitarianism being a little different from authoritarianism, he was very shocked and horrified by the mind control that was being enacted by the Nazis and the Russians, and then in Eastern Europe, the satellite countries, and the kind of the fraud that was mentioned. And he actually writes an article in 1941 where he uses the phrases that they're teaching, that war is peace and that freedom is slavery. The famous quotes from Orwell's 1984, that Reuben writes that in 1941. So he did understand that totalitarianism was a horrible system, and that it just completely tried to take over control of the citizenry.
Yeah, very interesting.
And
Yeah,
maybe,
please,
maybe
yeah.
if I can add something. Yeah, because during his life, so in Bulgaria, he was a close friend with the agrarian party, because he in Kansas he grew up in a farm, and he was interested in. He also has articles dedicated to how to do better agrarian development, and he was close to the agrarian parties, and they were the communist opposition, so they were heavily repressed by the communists. Also, he was very close to the Protestants in Bulgaria, and in 1949 there was the so-called priest process, and many Protestant priests were arrested, sent to prison or to concentration camps, and he experienced true life totalitarianism, and maybe for this reason he was very how can I say, emotional about that problem.
Yeah, very interesting. We're almost out of time, but maybe I'll ask you one last question just to pick up on some of the connection between him and your own interests, right? So you mentioned that you came across his name, right, through your own research on Bulgarian literary modernism. So was he aware of this movement? Was it more they were recognizing him? Was he aware of them? Like, what was the relationship there, if anything? And, you know, kind of like, yeah, I'm interested in that connection. Maybe you could just say a little bit more.
Yeah. So in the book Meet Bulgaria, he has a chapter dedicated to the Bulgarian literature, and he mentions a few writers in the chapter, but he also was close friends with the Bulgarian writers, intellectuals. I think, and yeah, and I when I worked on the Sagittarius Circle, I was surprised to see that he was a founder of their newspaper, not just a founder, but also a sponsor. He supported at the beginning he supported the newspaper. Then he wanted the newspaper to be more socially oriented, and the modernists, they wanted to be more literature and culture oriented. So he left the newspaper, but he was one of the sponsors of the. So he knew, and also there are. I have seen a translation of Bulgarian poetry made by him. So he also translated many Bulgarian folk songs and proverbs, Bulgarian proverbs, and also Bulgarian poetry.
Yeah, so going very deep into the culture, right? Not simply observing the political events and reporting. That's interesting.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
And he knew the language well, right? He knew the language,
yeah.
obviously.
He also has a few books written in Bulgaria. He was
Really?
able,
Wow.
yeah.
Interesting. All right. Well, I'm afraid we're pretty much out of time, but thank you all for coming, and thank you so much, Siobhan, for the great research and really interesting presentation. And it's been a pleasure having you here at the Institute, and I hope you'll stay in touch after you head home.
The honor is mine.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Everybody.